smile on his
Holy
face.
frick!
His medium to longish black hair was...
Bro, I would have knocked that fool out immediately. He tries to peek at... Sleeping like this and all like... What is good, you guys? 3 disturbing true Hostel horror stories. I don't really know what that really was, so I had to search it up. It's like a lower, cheaper hotel inn type of thing with bunk beds or something like that. I don't know. They have shared kitchens and all that stuff. Didn't know that's what they called it, honestly. I thought they just called it something else. But we're gonna be reacting to 3 disturbing horror stories of these. I hope you guys enjoy. We have not been doing any of these for a hot minute, exams and all that stuff, but we're done. Back on that YouTube grind, back on that 100K sub grind. Let's get right to it. Smash that like button. Let's get to it.
A hostel is a form of low-cost, short-term lodging, where guests share a multi-bed dormitory with a number of other people.
Yeah.
Often the beds are in the form of bunk beds.
That's
and the
so
rooms
weird.
are meant to fit as many people as possible, so as to create for a cheaper alternative to hotels and Airbnbs.
That's so awkward.
These rooms can be single or mixed gender, and they can have private or shared bathrooms. Hostels are a common go-to for solo travelers who aren't looking to spend a lot of money on a hotel, or for people who only really plan on using the place to sleep and not really hang out. The 3 stories you're about to hear were recounted by solo travelers who stayed in hostels and had not so great experiences with the people they were sharing their rooms with.
Of course, solo travelers, bro. That's already a red flag. The frick?
I was for a while talking to this French girl that I matched on some dating app after my breakup.
Oh, yeah, drop her immediately. She's French? Drop
We
her.
were texting for a while, then started calling and FaceTiming each other almost every night. We connected really well, but she came from a strict family who she still lived with.
Of course.
So when the idea of me visiting her came up, she made it clear she wouldn't be able to host me. And when I asked if she'd want to share a hotel room together, she said not the first couple nights after we met, just because her parents would have a freak out. So since I was only 23 and my pockets weren't stuffed, I booked a stay at a hostel not far from her in Paris. I downloaded a couple movies to watch on the 7-hour flight since I already knew I wouldn't be able to sleep.
7-hour flight to meet a chick? Are you done? Yo. She won't even invite you to the family? Yo, this ain't worth it. And she's French. Get the frick out.
I never can on flights. And I was right.
We don't like French
I tried
women over
sleeping,
here.
But didn't even
They're
get
crazy.
close. So by the time I landed and then Ubered to the hostel,
Heck no.
I was running on 0 hours of sleep within the past 24 hours.
Holy
I
frick.
was exhausted. Due to the 6-hour time difference, it was also like 3 in the morning, so at least that meant I could just go crash in the bed in the hostel and I wouldn't be jet lagged the next day.
True.
I arrived to the hostel, which admittedly wasn't the nicest place ever. It was small. There was a certain odor to the lobby, and the front desk worker wasn't too enthusiastic about his job. But it was 3 a.m. after all, so I had to cut him some slack. I walked to the room I'd be staying in, and there were 6 beds, 5 of them empty, but one had a guy sitting on it. He was on his laptop, typing away at something. He looked up at me, then back down at his laptop. I said, "Hey," but he didn't respond back.
Damn.
He seemed invested in what he was doing.
Let
So I
him
just
be.
laid down in one of the empty beds.
Don't even talk.
The
Just
light
go to
in the
bed.
room was still on. I asked him if it was okay that I shut off the light. Then he looked at me with a blank expression but didn't say anything. I repeated what I said, assuming he didn't hear me. And
Did
he
you hear me?
nodded his head with this weird smile. So I got up.
Oh, heck no. Oh, heck. This is why you don't freaking... Yo, who has ever been to a hostel before? Please let me know, bro. How freaking awkward is it that you're gonna be sleeping with 5 other mans? 5 other mans will be sleeping in one room. Bunk beds. Huh? And you expect nothing to happen to you. Are you freaking kidding me? I can die that night. Literally. Are you freaking dumb?
Up and turned off the lights to the room.
With the freaking smile
I passed out pretty quickly due to my lack of sleep.
Frick.
But surprisingly, I woke up a couple hours later. The room was still dark, but I didn't know for sure what woke me up. I rolled over to my side and looked around the room.
What the
It
frick?
was almost pitch black, but I could see that all the beds were empty.
How?
All of them. Where was the other guy that was there earlier?
Oh!
2 bunk beds next to me were empty, top and bottom, but I knew something had to have woken me up. I looked on my phone, and it was 5 in the morning. I needed sleep, so I said screw it. He probably left, and maybe
Nah.
a sound from out in the hall woke
He's
me up.
right below you.
I lay back down on my side and closed
He's
my
right
eyes.
behind you.
The mild traffic noises from outside was all that I heard. Then the bed shook a bit, and I heard a little crack of the metal frame, accompanied...
Whoa, who's breathing my freaking ear? I heard that! I freaking hate this.
With this freakish breathing sound. I looked up in horror, and on top of me, I saw a head peering over the edge of the top bunk, looking into the bottom bunk at me. I can see the same creepy smile on his face.
Holy frick!
His medium to longish black hair was...
Bro, I would have knocked that fool out immediately. He tries to peek at... sleeping like this and all like... swinging.
down with gravity
What the
below
frick?
the top of his head as he hung upside down. It was a horrifying sight that words really can't explain.
Of course.
I screamed and fell off the bed as I realized what I was looking at.
GG's.
He sat up in the top bunk and continued looking at me. I screamed, "What the F are you doing?" as I threw something at him. He started to laugh, this really strange, off-putting laugh. I immediately turned the light on and went through my stuff to make sure nothing was stolen, while watching him at the same time. I then heard a click of a phone camera and looked at him as he was holding his phone up to me, clearly having just taken a picture of me.
Hello?
He was still laughing while looking at me.
Oh, this fool.
Something was wrong with this man.
Never.
I didn't know if he had some screws loose mentally, or if he was doing this with bad intentions.
No, he's...
I zipped up my bag and went to the front desk and requested a different room immediately, one of the single private rooms. After explaining why and trying to get a reduced rate, he wouldn't budge, but he said he'd check on the room with the guest that I was just in. I didn't call the police because I didn't know if any laws were broken, but I sure as hell left a review of the hostel. The rest of my trip there was good. I had a good time with the girl I was seeing, but every time I returned to the hostel, I was scared I'd run into that guy. I don't like how a picture of me is on that weirdo's phone. I'm not a physical guy, but I wish in that instance, I did get physical.
Bruh. You just allowed a random stranger to take a picture of you at night at 5 a.m. in the morning. You a wussy. Get the frick out of here.
I'm a solo
I would have
traveler.
beat his ass.
Stayed in countless hostels as a means of saving
Let's
money,
play.
while also meeting new interesting people. I've stayed in a total of about 20 hostels in my life. And
What?
90% of the time, I've had good experiences. My first truly awful experience, though, was at a place called Freedom Traveler Hostel. Before I begin, I want to note that my horrible experience wasn't the complete fault of the hostel itself. The Freedom Traveler Hostel is located in Rome. It was my first time ever visiting Rome. I was completely inexperienced to the landscape.
I want to visit
relied
Rome,
heavily
bro.
on Google Maps and locals.
Rome seems like a nice place.
In fact,
Rome,
even finding
Spain.
the hostel itself proved challenging, as there were no signs for the place outside. But once I found the place, I let myself in through the big brown doors and was greeted by a nice woman working the front counter. I had already booked a stay in one of the 4-person rooms. I was led to the room I'd be staying in, which had 1 bunk bed and 2 single beds, totaling sleeping space for 4 people.
Okay.
The room had a green theme to it, but it wasn't the biggest room. The worker told me there weren't many people staying in the hostel at the moment, which I didn't really have a problem with if it would mean I would have more privacy in the room.
Good.
The woman had a smile on her face the entire time, and I appreciated her help.
Nah, she
She
sucks.
showed me where I could store my luggage, which was actually just some shed in the back garden area. I wasn't impressed nor confident with it, so I decided I'd leave my luggage in the room, especially since I didn't bring anything too valuable.
Good.
I was exhausted after a whole day of traveling, so after changing clothes and stowing my luggage under the bottom bunk bed, I laid down ready to take a quick power nap. Not long after, I heard a knock at the door, and 2 young men walked in. They had thick Italian accents, I could tell right away. They greeted me and started talking to me, even though I was mid-nap. But I'm
Hello?
polite and social.
Hello?
So I was friendly and chatted with
This
them.
is why I don't do this alone, bro. I just don't like doing this, dude. This makes me cringe. This makes me so uncomfortable. I'm grabbing a single room for myself. Screw these freaking hostels, bro. Screw all hostel users, bro. Screw all hostel lovers, bro. Like, I swear. Like, imagine you're sleeping because you just had a long day for being at Rome, and all of a sudden you hear these 2 freaking Italians out this yelling, screaming out their asshole, trying to talk to me. Like, no, shut up. Holy frick. And you're traveling alone. That's already sus.
It was Marco and Lucio.
Don't
brothers.
care.
Marco had to be like 6'4". He was huge. Lucio was probably 5'11", but he
Oh.
wasn't a toothpick either.
How tall
I
are
could
you,
see
sir?
the resemblance in their faces.
You're screwed.
They were very tan, but both had receding hairlines, even though I could tell they were in their early 20s. They weren't the friendliest looking guys, but at first they seemed okay enough. After getting acquainted in English with them, the 2 brothers started to talk amongst themselves in Italian. They didn't know that I understood, though, because right away I understood them to be talking about me and
Yep.
laughing at me.
Talking about
I
they're
heard,
gonna
I
kill you
believe,
ass.
Marco describing me as some silly white boy.
Ooh.
I could have said something right there in Italian, but instead I wanted to keep the illusion that I didn't speak the language.
They're gonna kill your
The
ass.
two brothers eventually got up from their beds and left the room, with Lucio smiling and waving at me as they left. I just realized they didn't have their luggage in the room, which led me to believe they left their luggage in the storage shed in the garden area. I went to the garden area for a bit just to mingle with some of the people sitting out there, and I met a few nice tourists who were also staying there for the weekend.
Cool.
Then off I went to explore the city, heading in the direction of city center.
Rome is so
After
nice.
many
bro.
hours and 2 food stops later, I returned to the hostel, expecting some people to be socializing in the lounge area or in the back garden. But there was no one. So I figured I'd just get some early shut-eye. It was 9 p.m. anyway. I don't remember when I fell asleep, but I remember waking up. The lights in the room were still off, but I heard whispering voices. The brothers were back. I didn't move. I listened to what they were saying, still speaking in Italian. One of them whispered something that roughly translated to, "Just grab it, or are you gonna do it?"
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Who's gonna Marco? Like, come on, bro. You have no chance of winning this battle. You have a man that's 5'11" and another one that's freaking 6'4". Big swole ass. You had no weapon on you? You had nothing on you. Nothing. No weapon, no knife. Like I kid you freaking not. I'm not even playing. Like all jokes aside, if I was in this situation, bro, if I'm having a pocket knife on me at all times throughout the night. I'm sleeping with a pocket knife. I'm sleeping with a blicky. Like I'm not freaking sleeping with nothing on me, because I know damn well.
I didn't know what it meant, but I had a feeling they were talking about my luggage. I was waiting to hear the sound of my luggage being moved before I would let them know I was awake. But instead, I felt a sweet-smelling, cold and wet cloth being pressed up to my face, and I reacted by yelling and swatting it off my face.
Chloroform
Over me. I screamed, "What are you doing?" The man over me, I couldn't tell which one it was, then got on the lower bed with me and tried to subdue me, but I kicked him off and screamed for help.
Oh!
The other brother pulled him away from me, and the two men took off out of the room.
Holy
I
frick!
quickly grabbed my bag and shoes and went to the front desk for help.
You're
The
lucky.
man who was working now said he saw the two guys leave, but there was no information on them even staying there. They were two random locals who were trying to rob visitors to the hostel.
What?
They tried to literally chloroform me. I didn't stay there after that, of course. I'm sure they've upped their security now, but when I stayed there, clearly anybody could have just walked right in.
What? Are you kidding me? You can do this? No.
I wasn't
Wow.
awake. I would have been chloroformed and robbed of my entire bag.
You would have been.
After this, I started being more careful of the hostels I stay at.
Bro, you would have been bodied easily. Why didn't they freaking? Am I missing something? Didn't you say one of them was like 6'4" and the other one was freaking 5'11"? Big, swole ass people. Why the frick did they not just subdue you? Like, why did they back off and run away? They could have easily put that over your mouth. Easily freaking held you down against the freaking bed. But they freaking ran like wussies. That's crazy.
I went to Miami Beach by myself for the Art Basel, and to just escape the
It's a
cold.
2v1 and they still
My friend
lost.
Mia would be there with her boyfriend, and I'd meet up with them, but I wasn't staying with them. Hotels and Airbnbs in Miami aren't cheap, though, especially if you're flying solo.
Yeah, literally.
So I went with this hostel
Hella
called
expensive.
Bikini Hostel. It's like in the heart of Miami Beach, and it was pretty crowded. Even the check-in lobby had some people in it. It had a younger vibe, mostly people in their 20s. Some people seemed to be there in groups, others solo like me. I didn't spend too much time in the hostel, though. It was only meant as a place to sleep for me. The place had lockers that you could put your bags in, so I was able to be gone the entire day with peace of mind. It wasn't until that first night that I returned and met some of the people in the room with me. I was in a mixed dorm, meaning both male and females. Though
What?
I was actually the only female in the room.
That's.
I wasn't necessarily
Wait.
male and females.
Wait, whoa. Did you just say you're the only female in the room?
Able to be gone the entire day with peace of mind. It wasn't until that first
Nah,
night that
man.
I returned and met some of the people in the room with me. I was in a mixed dorm, meaning both male and females. Though I was actually the only female in the room.
GG's. GG's, bro. Why the frick would you travel alone and be in a freaking hostel with with men only. You're the only female that you think nothing is gonna, like, what? That's so weird. That is so, bro. I pray for this girl, bro.
I wasn't necessarily uncomfortable with that. I wasn't really there for the people, more so just the money saved. I met about 3 of the however many people were actually staying in the room. The next morning, I woke up, and first thing I did was look for my phone, which I thought I left on the bed. I looked all over the bed and then under it. Someone in the room had to have taken it. I started asking everybody if anybody had it.
Wow.
I asked the guy in the bed next to me to call my number and see if we could hear it ring, but no one could. I started to question if maybe I didn't bring it back to the room after all. I borrowed the same guy's phone to call my friend Mia and tell her I lost my phone and to meet me at the brunch place we wanted to hit. I checked the entire room one last time, then checked with the front desk and asked them to call Mia's number if anyone should turn my phone in. Then I left to meet Mia at this place on Collins Avenue to get brunch with her and her boyfriend.
Cool.
While there, I used Mia's phone to sign into iCloud to check Find My iPhone. It said the last known location was at the hostel 2 hours ago. That gave me some form of relief, because maybe I left it in my bag or the locker or something.
Yeah.
We went back to the hostel together and looked everywhere in the room, including the locker and my bag. It didn't turn up, and this made absolutely no sense. But I wasn't going to let it ruin my trip. We walked to the convention center, which was where the Art Basel was being held. After leaving hours later, we grabbed a late lunch, or early dinner, and hit a couple bars afterwards. At some point, I checked Find My iPhone on Mia's phone again, and this time it said my phone had moved. It was basically right on top of us. Mia and her boyfriend joked about me being sure I don't have it on me. I told them I absolutely
Are you being
do
followed?
not. I looked around for anyone who might have my phone, but what would I even look for?
Hey, yo.
I put my phone into lost mode now that I knew someone had it.
Hey, yo.
Mia's boyfriend screamed out, "Did anybody find a lost phone?" But no one came forward. Though everyone looked at us and some people laughed, that's for sure.
Of course. Why would Mia's boyfriend do that? Why would your best friend's boyfriend say something like that? Just say it out loud, like people are gonna come forth, bro. Freaking dumbass.
My phone a bunch of times, and though it would
took
ring,
it.
no one picked up.
They ain't giving it back.
I went back to the hostel when it was dark out to change
This is
clothes.
Miami.
As I was walking back, I was starting to accept that maybe my phone wasn't going to be returned to me. But my entire walk back, I felt like this weird-looking guy was following me. He took every single same turn I took. I don't think he noticed that I noticed, but I was very suspicious he was following me.
Here we go.
When I got back to the room, I went on my laptop before getting changed to check Find My iPhone again, and now the location was back in the hostel. I was excited because I thought maybe they were returning it. I checked the front desk though, and nothing. I asked a bunch of people in the hostel too. No one had it, or at least they weren't admitting to it. So I went to Instagram on my laptop and started DMing Mia to keep her updated on when I'd be ready to meet them out. I went to take a quick shower, then changed into more going out appropriate attire. When I came out from the bathroom and back into the room, I was shocked to see that man that I thought was following me was sitting in one of the beds on his phone. There were 2 other guys in the room with us at that moment, but I had a scary thought, so I hurried to DM Mia.
You're screwed. You're screwed, bro. You're screwed. You're a solo female traveler, bro.
To call my phone right now. She said okay, and then I heard the sound of a phone vibrating in a pocket or on a bed.
Here we go.
I looked up at the guy, who
Here we
suspiciously looked back at me at the same time.
Run!
As if he knew. And
Run!
told me everything. I started yelling, "Give me my phone," exclaiming, "I got you," to him. The other 2 guys in the room helped me and demanded the guy empty his pockets and give me my phone.
I said run.
He listened and took out a phone. Sure enough, my phone. I snatched it from his hand and told the other 2 guys that he had been following me all day and was purposely avoiding returning my phone, which he probably took while I was asleep. The guy got up and hurried out of the building with his backpack, never returning. I made friends with the 2 guys who helped me. Their names were Mark and Paulo.
Oh, wow.
I had them come out with me to meet up with Mia. I'm grateful they were there because I wonder how things would have played out differently.
You met 2 guys, huh?
I also recommend keeping your phone and valuables in a very safe place if you ever stay in a hostel. And just generally be aware of the people around you.
Yeah. True. This is why I just don't freaking go to hostels, bro. Like, what the frick? I didn't even know what that was until I searched it up. I can't believe that's what they called it, or like that's a thing. That's crazy. I would never, bro. I would only be in one of those, like, oh, I gotta be with a bunch of people. bunch of people that I know to be doing something like this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that'll be the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy. What was the most creepiest one for you, or like the most clucked up one you think? For me, it gotta be the second one or the third one. You know what I'm saying? The first one was just a creepy ass dude. The second one, oh my freaking gosh. You got two grown ass men trying to seduce you, chloroform you. And then you got the third one was just like, you know, single female in a hostel with a bunch of dudes. What? Are you dumb, fam? I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. And yeah, peace.
You win. Perfect.